Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and today we're going to talk about my step-by-step planning process for seed starting. Okay, I have started thousands and thousands of seeds at this point, and I have learned over time that seed starting is not guesswork. And don't get me wrong, I did a lot of guessing in the beginning, but I've learned enough at this point that I literally have some step-by-step processes on how I start my seeds, when I start them, and where I start them. So December is when I slow down just enough to start planning with purpose. And I think with seed starting, planning with purpose is so incredibly important to have for success. So what I put together is a very simple 6-step process for planning for seed starting. 6 simple steps, 6 questions I ask myself every time I'm looking at a seed and deciding when, where, and how to start it. Okay, so let's start. Step 1, start with your frost dates. By far the most important thing for you to do. The first thing I look at is my average last frost date. For me and for most of Texas Zone 8, that tends to be mid to late March. And then every seed I start from then works backwards from that frost date. So super important, you can go online and look up your last frost date for your particular zip code or what area of the world that you're in. These are USDA frost dates that I'm referring to, so there might be different applications in other countries. But having that last frost date is incredibly important to start your seed starting process. Okay, going on to step 2, we want to identify cool season versus warm season plants. So when looking at all of my seeds that I've got right here, and this is just part of them, I like to ask myself, is this plant happiest in cool weather or warm weather? And literally divide your seeds out into 2 piles, right? Make 2 piles of them, cool weather and warm weather, and that is going to make the next part of your seed starting process so much easier. So cool season plants, stuff like stock, pansies, ranunculus, often get started earlier than the warm season plants. These cool season plants are the seeds I'm going to start first. Warm season plants like tomatoes, peppers, zinnias, those wait until much closer to spring, and then that allows me to balance out what's going on under my grow lights. So this one step alone saves me so much space under my grow lights. And it really helps because I'm just a small home gardener, right? I have a small plot of land. I have a literal dining room I turned into a grow room. And I try to keep everything within here. And so it's really important that I don't just start everything at one time. I need to start them in different phases in order to be able to accommodate the smaller space that I have. All right, so step 3 of the process is check the seed packet, but don't stop there. Super important. Any seed packet is going to have some general information. Some will have more than others. No matter what, you don't just stick to what it says on the seed packet. You need to take the time to continue to research further. So seed packets are extremely helpful, but I don't follow them blindly. I really try to adapt them to my particular zone, Zone 8, Texas. What is on here is a general starting point, right? And what may be on here might not necessarily apply to what's going on in Zone 4 or Zone 10, right? So you really have to consider looking at this information and adapting it for your needs. So I look on the packet, and then if I can't find it, I look on Google or whatever, and I look for whether or not I need to start indoors and how many weeks or days I need to start indoors before the last frost. Next, I look for germination temperature. Super important because a lot of seeds will not germinate unless they're cold or warm enough. And then I also look days to bloom or harvest because I really want to have an understanding of, will this plant produce whatever I want prior to the heat, prior to the fall, prior to the winter or whatever. So for example, let's talk about stock because that is what I'm starting very soon. Well, stock doesn't like it once it gets above about 80 degrees. Like, it's unhappy. Well, we hit 80 degrees in April, right? And we'll hit 100 degrees by the first week in June. So it's very important that I start those stock seeds far enough ahead of time that they have time to go out into the garden and the ground and grow on prior to my temperatures getting super hot. And if that process takes, and I'm making this up, 65 days, right? then I need to make sure that I have a good 65 days prior to it getting super hot outside for me. So then I take all those things that we just talked about. Am I starting indoors? How many weeks before the last frost? Germination temperature and days to bloom or harvest. I take all of that information and I compare it to my own climate. So I'm looking at that frost date. I'm looking about when we get hot. I'm looking about when we get cooler in the fall. I'm looking at it and I'm seeing where that plant fits in that range. I really want to get specific to my area and my garden. Okay, step 4, does it need cold stratification? And this is the step I mess up on all the time. It is so important to go ahead and figure that out right now. There's nothing worse than getting ready to start a seed only to realize it needs to be cold stratified for 4 weeks, and then it throws everything off on your schedule. So December is prime time for planting anything that needs cold stratification. Go through all these seeds, research, figure out ones that need to be cold stratified, put them aside, and get them prepped to go. So if it does need weeks of cold stratification, I either start that process now or I plan for outdoor winter sowing, which if you get really far along in your seed starting process and you realize something needs cold stratification, just going ahead and popping it outdoors for winter sowing does help achieve that process. But you still do need to do a little bit of planning with that. So I break them up into the 2 categories. Are they going into the refrigerator or are they going outside into winter sowing? This is huge for perennials. So a lot of perennials need cold stratification, and this saves a ton of time. Like I said, you don't want to get to February, mid-February, and you want to start a seed only to realize it takes 4 weeks of cold stratification in the refrigerator before it can even germinate. So yeah, that process can really sneak up onto you. Hitting that cold stratification is so incredibly important. Another step you can do as your seeds come in, as you order seeds, is go ahead and, in the top corner, write cold stratification or CS, or make some kind of mark on your seed packet so that you know that that particular seed is going to need cold stratification when the time comes. Step 5, is it a slow grower? So some plants are just slow, very, very slow. I like to start the slow growers fast. I already started some Lysianthus. I already started some Gerber daisies. The Gerber daisies have already germinated. They germinate just fine. It's the small growing stage that takes forever. Lysianthus take forever to germinate, and then they just sit there like they're not growing at all for weeks and weeks. But you really want to look ahead for these growers that take a long time. So things like Lysianthus, geraniums, certain perennials, a lot of perennials take a long time. But you really want to pull those out, figure out which ones are going to take the longest. Those get priority for early indoor starting because they need the head start. So super important. That's why I've already got the Gerber daisies going, already got Lysianthus. Geraniums are on my list to start this next week. But going ahead and getting some of these slow growing plants going is super important. Okay, number 6. And I think that this is by far the most important step. It's the last step in the process. Be honest about space and energy. I'm not good at this step either. This is a step most people skip, but it matters. It's so incredibly important. I like to ask myself, do I actually have room for this under the lights? Like, inside, do I have room to start this many seeds? And it's not just about these tiny little seed starting containers. Remember, my little containers are 12 right here. Well, when they get potted up, we'll go to 12 right here. Okay, so super important. No big deal if I've got 10, little seed starting things on this back shelf. When those 10 go to 10 and take up so much room, and they all need lots of grow lights. So super important. Do you even have room for all of those seeds inside? Next thing I asked myself, will I enjoy caring for this many seedlings? The answer is always yes at the beginning for me. And then towards the end of seed starting season, I'm like, oh, why did I do this? I'm not a fan of potting up. Don't really love potting up. I would like to this year to do a better job being like, can I just take these small seedlings and go directly into the garden instead of having to go to the potting up process? But I really do love growing big, giant, full plants that look like they just came from the nursery. So asking yourself, is this too many for me to take care of? What do I have going on in my life? Do I really want to handle this? Because seed starting is an everyday process. You're checking on those seeds and they will not wait for you. When they need to be potted up, they need to be potted up. And if you don't do it, they die. All right. When they need to be fertilized, they need to be fertilized. And if you don't do it, they die. So there's lots of effort that you have to go through for the seed starting process. Are you willing to put the energy into it? I also asked myself, do I really need to grow this many from seed? And yeah, I always grow way too many from seed. I end up giving them a bunch of them away to my friend Kristen, to my mom. I just really kind of utilize them for other people. I grow a lot of seeds for joy for myself because I like to experiment with the seed starting process. Do I need to grow as many seeds as I do? No. However, it does save me a lot of money. I love tons of petunias in my garden. I love tons of vincas in my garden. But if I have to go buy all those grown plants at the nursery, it costs me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars that I don't necessarily want to spend. So by seed starting, it allows me to really put a lot of plants and really fill in my space for a lot smaller amount. But do I actually need to start them from seed? No. Do I want to start them from seed? Yes. Do I want to save money? Yes. And when you're asking yourself these questions, and when you're on step 6 and you're like, be honest about your space and your energy, sometimes the answer is no. And that's okay. It's okay to say, no, I don't need to grow 12 pepper plants. I want to grow 2, all right? It's okay to say, you know what? I got a lot going on at the beginning of the year. I'm going to skip starting petunias this year. I'm just not up for it, and that's okay. Right? So it's okay to tell yourself, I don't have to keep up with what's going on YouTube. I don't have to keep up with, my neighbor gardeners. All I need to do is what's best for myself and for my garden. Okay, so those are my 6 steps. Step number 1, start with your frost date. Incredibly important. That's where you're going to judge all of your timing from that frost date. Step 2, identify cool season versus warm season. You got to know which seeds need to start first. Step number 3, check the seed packet, but don't stop there. If the seed packet does not have the information you need, go ahead and Google it, look it up, find out all the information until all of your questions are answered before starting that seed. Step number 4, does it need cold stratification? So incredibly important to find that out right now so you can figure out if you need to go ahead and start the cold stratification now. Step number 5, is it a slow grower? You can go in, figure out, is it a slow grower? Is it going to take 160 days to fruition? Is it a perennial? Most perennial seeds are slow growers. Pull those out and know that you need to start those earlier than the other ones. And step number 6, be honest about space and energy. Be honest with yourself. You're going to feel like a failure if you take too much on, right? So set yourself up for success, start simply, and then you can build on that over time. If you're new to seed starting, start with a few and get started. If you've been doing seed starting for a while, but the last few years have been a little bit overwhelming, scale back a little bit. Focus on the things you just really, really love, the seeds you really love, and just really baby those. So planting seeds isn't about doing more. Okay, it's about being intentional so your garden brings joy and is not overwhelming. What's the point of doing the seed starting process if there's no joy in it? It brings me a lot of joy. Doing too much can become overwhelming. Taking the time to plan, curled up watching a Christmas movie with my family, have the fire on and my puppy dog beside me is lovely. Perfect time to be planning and jotting down ideas and looking up things. Absolutely the perfect time to get prepared. All right, so those are my 6 steps. Super simple, super easy, very simple steps to ask yourself. And if you go through these steps, you're really going to set yourself up well for seed starting process. Okay, I am going to be putting a step-by-step guide up on my Patreon community if you want to check that out. I will say that's not going to go up until later this weekend. I've just got a lot going on right now, not trying to take on too much, but it's going to go up later this weekend. So if you want to go check it out, you can. If you are interested in growing in your gardening journey, especially for the new year, go check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. There's a free tier you can join in under, and that free tier will get you access to that download. There is one paid tier. The one paid tier is called Certified Mad Gardener. And if you're a certified Mad Gardener, you get access to everything on Patreon, including lives. including exclusive videos not available on YouTube, group chats, photo sharing. It's a really great group of people to kind of learn from. All right, y'all. I hope this helps. I hope this simplifies the process for you. I hope this gives you a moment to right now start your seed starting decisions. Start writing down information, record it in a journal, record it on your phone, record it on your computer, whatever works best for you. Start pulling that information together so that you are prepared for seed starting in 2026. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.